Hello, this is Greg Allison coming to you with breaking news today. Today, SpaceX's Dragon 2 Demo 2 docked with the International Space Station. This is great because it launched just yesterday at 2:49 Eastern Standard Time in the morning, and today the docking procedure began at about 5:51 Eastern Standard Time. And this is a significant milestone in commercial and NASA space development, because this means we will again finally be able to bring crew members back to the International Space Station and American astronauts back into space for the first time in years. The last space shuttle flight, the last flight of Atlantis, was 8 July 2011. It's expected that the next crewed flight, if this mission goes well, of Dragon space capsule will fly in July of this year, which will put it 8 years after the last American manned space launch on Atlantis, and 50 years after we landed the first man on the moon. And this will be the first commercially developed, although working in partnership with the government, space capsule. So a lot of people refer to it as commercial crew because it's developed under different standards than the typical NASA procurement process. However, it's exciting that America will be returning to space again. Once again, this capsule will carry 7 astronauts, just like the space shuttle, at least up to. The space station has been running undermanned for the last few years since the space shuttle program got discontinued, because we've been hitchhiking rides on the Soyuz spacecraft, which can only carry 3 people at a time. There's presently a crew of 3 people up on the International Space Station. So that said, it's very interesting. Let's go through some charts I'm going to show you here. And we'll decrease this. And we're going to look at some of the highlights of this mission. That is the Dragon X shown there. My PowerPoint. There we go. It's a little slow to advance. This is the view of it coming into the International Space Station ISS from the Dragon 2 capsule. And what you're looking at is where this thing is going to be docking is right here where my cursor's at. That is node 2, also known as the Harmony node, and it's going to be coming into the International Docking Adapter, which is connected to node 2 via the pressurized mating adapter. This is the European Space Agency Columbus module, and this is the Japanese module, which we call the Japanese Experiment module. At one time, I believe it's now named Kibo. I'm not Japanese, so if my pronunciation's a little off, please forgive me. I'll show you how to say that in Japanese. However, this module is quite interesting in itself because it's also got a cargo logistics module up here on top. It's got a large exposed facility out here, and an exposed facility cargo modules, which the robotic arm of the space station remote manipulating system can install on here. And then the Japanese module has its own robot arm right here called JIM, Japanese Experiment Module Arm. Actually, they call it Small Fine Arm, pardon me. And you can see these features on here. If you look, this is a rather large module. There's a lot of large experiment space on here, from the European stuff, the Japanese stuff, American, the Russian stuff, that we can only carry 3 people up there at a time. It means the space station is essentially underutilized. And there were program elements that we did not get to install, such as a centrifuge module we'd like to send up here. That would have been really good for ferreting out what we need to know about living under lower gravity or simulations of various levels of higher gravity. The moon is 1/6 Earth gravity, Mars is 1/3 Earth gravity. So it would be very important to know, even in trips back and forth and long duration missions, how we could adjust to different gravity levels if we rotate various facilities at different rotational rates. It's been very interesting to have had that facility, and who knows, maybe we can get back to it. With the capability now, the Russians to keep bringing their 3 people up, now with us bringing 7. The space station is designed for 6 people, maybe with a Bigelow module, the beam module, which has been recently stopped. Maybe they can figure out a way to hang up a few hammocks in there and get a few extra people in there. I think the crew facilities is the main limiting factor. We definitely have plenty of lab space on board the space station. There's also, you can see a Russian Soyuz module back here on the back. So I just kind of walking you through the space station a little bit. I've worked the space station 3 different times in my career, done different things. I did work on this Node 2 and Node 3, which is on the other side behind it. The US lab module is in the middle. It's called Unity. And so the nodes program, I did the layout of the wiring and all the pinouts and assigned all that stuff for these 2 nodes. So I'm quite involved in that. I was involved in the early layout, the change requests that established the utility rails and that distribute utilities throughout the International Space Station. I worked quite a bit in robotic systems integration standards and robotic element management from the NASA standpoint for their integration office that we had back in the day. Back in Space Station Freedom Day, so I'm quite familiar with the Space Station rope manipulating system. And also there is a robot, see if I can find it on here, it may be over here, that may be it. The special purpose dexterous manipulator, which the Canadians like to call Dexter. There's some, actually I think this is your external payload attachments right here. That's what that looks more like. Can't see Dexter really. This is your payload attachment systems. PASs, and you have an integrated truss, which is built together with several sections. Back here behind you can't see the radiators. There is solar rays. You don't see all the solar rays here on this side just because this view does not include them. Each one of these solar rays is on a truss element and consists of a 25 kilowatt solar power module. There are 4 of these. 2 you can see right here. You can see half of one over here. So there's 4 of them for 100 kilowatts of solar power on the space station. And there's batteries because the space station is takes 90 minutes to go around the Earth. So it's 45 minutes in the sun, a little better than 45 minutes, and basically 45 minutes in the dark. So you get a sunset and a sunrise, you know, twice every 45 minutes. It's pretty amazing. Lots of sunsets and sunrises, and they're beautiful and extraordinarily beautiful in space. You can see the pictures, the videos. The high definition cameras they've mounted on the space station, that is some incredible video. So let's kind of walk through this thing. This is the view coming in to ISS. And you can see they have a reticle here with guidance features, a little plus in the center to help guide them in toward the node. There's a power data grapple fixture on node 2 that accommodates the special purpose, excuse me, not to spit them. It incorporates the space station rope manipulator system. And this is Dragon 2 inbound to ISS right here, just this morning. And don't that look amazing? It's got its nose cone opened up, and exposed in here is the soft docking adapter. You can see here there's 3 pedal leaves clocked 120 degrees apart. There's a reciprocal set of pedals on the ISS in the International Docking Adapter, and they're basically guides that help align everything up. And then this mechanism has springs built into it, so that it will absorb any differences in velocity to help bring everything to the final resting place, and then everything gets synced down and mated so you can have a pressurized tunnel transfer when you open the hatches. So that's quite interesting. You can see Dragon here much closer to ISS. And let me point out a couple of features here. This is the part that re-enters. And this is your abort boosters are mounted up in here so they can fire out this way. Because you have these abort boosters here on the Dragon 2, it does not have a conical heat shield. Not a perfect symmetrical conical heat shield. It's asymmetric conical, I guess you would call it. I forget what Elon Musk called it specifically, but this may introduce some challenges. If there's any challenges to re-entry, any risk, it will be because this has not been tried before. All the analysis makes it look good, but you know, we're still holding our breath till this thing comes back into the atmosphere. And I think this is part of the space station manipulator system. I think this is one of the joints, you know, one of the elbows folded over. Pardon me for bumping the microphone. But anyway, here it is coming in. You can see it's firing some of its Draco thrusters. It's got a light inside so it can light up that target area real well. It needs to see that target. maybe I should, let's see, we have any more views of the target. Yeah, okay. It's trying to light up that target so that it's got alignment guides. Now, there is software that can automatically adjust everything to put everything in bounds with that target. Also, you can do that manually. Dragon 2, as I understand it, has been developed for autonomous docking. Now, docking is when you come in and mate directly to the spacecraft we're coming up to. The cargo vehicles did not dock that SpaceX sent up. Those versions of Dragon were different. They were birthed. By being birthed, that means they came up really close, almost to docking, but the space station remote manipulator system, that big Canada arm, reached out and grabbed the cargo module, the cargo versions of Dragon, add a grapple fixture on that vehicle and brought it in. Now, the good thing about the space station remote manipulator system is it has a system called backdrive. Backdrive is capable of neutralizing the differences in velocities, taking out some of the velocity of the incoming object so that it can berth it real smoothly to the space station. That was the feature designed as a safety in case the incoming object didn't have the full capability of taking care of all that on its own, which they're at that level now. And even in the early shuttle days, they were not sure about that. There's a separate capability on the space station manipulator system known as backup drive. That was meant for redundancy. Unfortunately, somebody in their great wisdom mistaked the two and thought, well, we're not needing backup drive or back drive on SSRMS, so they deleted the connector for the backup drive, so we don't have 3 legs of redundancy on the Node 2 power data grapple fixture, unless they went back and added it later. I did raise some issues with that, never heard the outcome of it, because I was off the program at that time. So maybe they went back and added. I hope they did. In any event, here we see the target area right here. And I think maybe I got another view of that in an upcoming slide here. And here is Dragon 2 coming in really close. You can see those pedals on the docking adapter. And it's got a mechanism in here. You can see the light coming from the inside. You got red lights on the outside. And now she's really close. She's about to dock. Beautiful view. Really, I love that. And this will be the hatch right here. That's the hatch itself. Looks like the handle right here. And that's probably what you open and close it with. I don't know that for a fact. I've not worked this program on the Dragon, but that's what it looks like just by my eyeballs. And I assume these are handles to grab it with, because they put features on like that. Here we go. This is the target site. You can see the reticle has the plus here. There's a post that needs to line up to that. It's not exact on, but this thing is so close, those pedals will take up any slop in the system. I think they're good right there. Dock-in system ready. Look at the notes on here. LiDAR, that's your laser radar range finding. And there's several features on here. And one of the things you see that shadow there, you shouldn't be seeing shadow. You're not dead on if you see a little bit of shadow. I'm not seeing any shadow of the center post. There's a center poster, so maybe it's not that bad. These things may stick up higher. Well, center post sticks up higher. There's a center post right here in this target. And so they have these targets as visual aids, and they use that in the robotic system integration standards too. I worked robotic system integration standards on Space Station Freedom Program days. ARSIS, we called it. It's also man system integration standards. Now, after she docked, this is a view inside of the Dragon 2 capsule, and this is Ripley. Remember Aliens movie, Ripley? I think he's named after Ripley from the Aliens movie. That's my guess. This is a little Earth toy. And a couple of the astronauts on the ISS decided to go in. As you can see, they're wearing personal protective gear, i.e. they're wearing a breathing apparatus. And you don't know if there actually is oxygen or if it's filtered. I think there must be carrying oxygen from the looks of it, just a short supply. And of course, there's a little thing they can speak through. Just kind of like a gas mask that we had back in the Army. And it's over their head. They're not wearing a spacesuit because it is pressurized in the Dragon module. These are just precautionary in case there's been some kind of outgassing inside the Dragon capsule. They don't want to take any chances when they first come in. They knew the pressure was good, so they went in and tested the atmosphere inside, and they took cargo out. There was some cargo underneath the seats here. See Dexter over here. Here's a little Earth here, a little Earth toy. And they had a little ceremony, an opening ceremony, after they went in and checked everything out, in which they went back in with no protective gear. We can see the 3 astronauts, Canadian, Russian, and American here. In they go. Oh, let me back up. They're in node 2 here. This is the forward hatch on node 2. And the hatches on the nodes are basically square. And there's a pressurized mating adapter back here that comes off of that brings it down to something more round. And then there's the International Docking Adapter, which was added in 2016, that was brought up on a cargo flight from SpaceX, no less. And so that makes it quite more interesting to have that capability in there. But what it does is it means you're going through about 2 different docking adapters, and you can see all the hatches as you look at them going through here. All the different levels and hatches. Here's someone going through it, going into it. Now here you can see all the different levels here, the hatches and everything. And they pulled a hose through. I guess they're blowing some air in there. Maybe they just, I don't know what that is. The Russians were known for running those everywhere. And here we are inside. And our American astronaut McLean is sitting here smiling and happy. She's playing around with a little Earth toy. Dexter, I mean, not Dexter. Dexter's the robot from Canada. Pardon me. This is Ripley over here. And of course, Ripley is just fine to sit there in a spacesuit waiting on his next mission. Maybe he'll ride up on the Tesla one day. But so today is a successful day that we got a docking of a crew-capable capsule, Dock 2 ISS. That's no small feat. Docking is a major, serious endeavor. This is the day to be happy for. I hope this thing returns safely. If it does, we'll return to crewed flight from American soil, and just a matter of a couple months. And Boeing also has a CST-100 program that it's planning to also send crewed to International Space Station. Sierra Nevada has the Dream Chaser spacecraft, and we hope that in time that that Boeing will develop its new Falcon rocket, the big heavy one called the BFR, the Big Falcon rocket. Well, they called it other things once upon a time. That's a very exciting development. If they can pull that off, it's going to be a game changer. And of course, I work on the space launch system at NASA, and so hopefully it'll be coming online really soon. So we'll have to see how all these things plays out. There's a lot of new things coming up in the space program and space development. I'm really excited for the BFR, and I'm excited to see what Bezos is hiding. What's the New Glenn rocket going to be? And there's rumors of a new Armstrong rocket. Think about it. He had his New Shepard. The New Shepard's the tourism. It takes the suborbital hops like Alan Shepard's first flight. Then the New Glenn is orbital, like John Glenn's first orbital flight. And it should be a very capable rocket on par with the BFR. Hey, if that don't rhyme, give me a dime or a nickel. I'll take that. And then there's this rumor of the new Armstrong. Wow, what's that going to be? We can maybe in for some exciting times. The thing is, I worry that we have a lot of challenges in front of us in our civilization today. And I think that if we're really going to make space development happen, we need to get moving fast. I think the current pathway is way too slow. We need to pick it up. We got to pick the game up. And rockets, we're seeing major developments here, major advances. And so that's great. We're finally getting to the level that von Braun and the people dreamed of decades ago in terms of operational capability. We're on the cusp of that with the rockets. But, rockets, I have 3 rules for rockets. Allison's laws of rockets. I coined these back when I was developing hybrid rockets to launch on high-altitude balloons. And they are, rockets go boom. Rockets have always gone boom. And unfortunately, rockets always will go boom. We do hope that they go boom a lot less often. We can get the reliability and safety up. But rockets are a challenge to fly. Who knows? Maybe we'll come up with a better way to do this. And I do have some earlier videos on this channel which allude to the notions that maybe one day we'll come up with other propulsion technologies. And do subscribe to my channel and click the update notification bell so you can get updates to other videos I'm going to do. I had promised my next video was going to be one on Life in the Universe by Richard Hoover. I'd already filmed it. But you know, this stuff going on with SpaceX was just too exciting not to throw this in first. So I'm expecting I'll probably be posting that video somewhere around Thursday. I need to do a little fun in editing. And and I may make it 1 or 2 parts. It just depends on how it looks. I did post some Antigravity Research Institute videos a couple weeks back. So please go back and look on previous videos and look at the video where I was having a fun live action role playing session with Rex Bear. We had a good time. And many, many more to come. A lot of videos about science, propulsion, about technology, and our role in the universe, where we're at, what to expect. And so thank you for watching.